Okay guys, welcome back. In this next lesson, we're going to be looking at other functions that could replace the VLOOKUP or the HLOOKUP when they are inadequate. I'm specifically talking about the if function. This is a conditional function. So starting with the this section here. So let me explain what's going on with the table so we can all follow. Treasure notes bookstore Q1 expenses. What we're looking at here, we're looking at the different area of the company: east, north, south, and west. And for each of these areas, sales are done in different categories. Okay, this is the category: IT category, telephone category, supplies category, and so on. And then for 1 quarter of the year, that's for 3 months: January, February, and March. And then we have the total expenses. Okay, so now here we are looking at different things. We are looking at what the average expenses is for each of the categories, for example, or what the total expenses is for each of the categories, and what the total expenses is if we are looking at both the area and the category. Again, this is something easier shown than said, so I'm going to show you as opposed to talking about it. Okay, so let's start with the total expenses because it seems to be a little more intuitive. So I'm going to click on this cell here. What we can do, what normally we could do, is to type the equal sign and then bring in the function that we use. So the question is, which function can we use in this case? Which function can we use if under category we're looking for subscriptions? Which function should we use to sum or to get the total expenses? If you say it is the SUMIF function, I would agree with you. So SUMIF, okay, we can do that, and then double click to activate it, and then go ahead and select the category section. All right, but this is a tedious process. This will be difficult because we're going to have to repeat this process again and again, so it just makes it easier. So I'm going to delete this and then return to what we did in the past before. What we did in the past, we used a function or a command called the define names command. The define names command, we used that in previous, so we're going to bring that back again to make things a lot more easier for us. So again, I'm going to click on the cell, on the right cell here, under total expenses, and then I'm going to select the whole table by using the Control-Shift command, and then using right hand arrow key and then the left hand arrow key to make it easier for me. Of course, you can manually select everything if you want, but again, this is just an easier way to do this. And now what we do now is to go to the create from selection, so we can define the name by using these selections. Okay, so create from selection, we're going to click create from selection, and then the selection we're looking at is on the top row. That's area, category, and January, February, March total expenses. Okay, so it's not on the left side but on the top. When we did this before, we used the left hand side. Remember, check out the previous video, but this time our sections are on the top, so we deselect the left row column and click OK. Nothing seemed to happen yet, but a lot has happened. If you click on using formula, you see that these sections are all present here. Okay, now what we're going to do next is to click on the cell below total expense and then go to insert function by either by clicking on the one beside the formula bar or clicking on insert function, the big icon here, and find the SUMIF function. The SUMIF function, if it's not available, we're going to type SUMIF, go, and then it's right at the top, and if we click OK, it will be right here. So we get the SUMIF dialog box. The SUMIF dialog box gives us the range, the criteria, and the sum range. So the range is the range of cells you want evaluated. So the range of cells will be the category, right? Because this is a range of cells that we're looking at. And to get category, we go to the using formula and click on category. So what is the criteria? The criteria in this case will be subscriptions. That's what we're looking for. And what is the sum range? The sum range are the actual cells to sum. If omitted, the cells in range are used. So the actual cells to sum. Sum range is the total expense. So we're going to go to total expenses and click that. Okay, so if we click OK now, so we have the total expenses for subscriptions. The good thing about this is that if we change this now, let's say to clericals, it actually gives us the total expense for clericals. Okay, so that is how to use the SUMIF function. The next is to go to a similar function but slightly different. We're going to use the calculate the average expense for this category, rent category, or any other category represented in this cell here. So to do that, we're going to use the average if function, and to get that, let's click on the insert function again and type in average if. Okay, and it is the first one here, so we'll double click on that to bring in the range. So the range here again is, as before, is going to be the category that we're looking at. So we're looking at the this category here, and since we created name selection, we can use find category here. And what is our criteria? Our criteria will be cell I-20 that currently contains rent. Okay, and the average range is going to be total expenses. Again, go to using formula and click on total expenses. If we click OK now, it tells us what the average rent is for the rent category, the average expenses for the rent category. All right, so I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to go next to the next issue here. This time, however, we are looking for two conditionalities. In the first two examples, we're looking for one condition, an item under a specific item under the category, one item under the category. In this time though, we're looking at an item under the area and also another item under the category. So subscriptions in this case under category and East under area. So what is the total expenses for this? In order to do this, you're going to use a variation of the SUMIF formula. We're going to use the SUMIFS. Okay, to do that, we'll go to the insert function and find SUMIFS. If it's not shown here, we just type in SUMIF, SUMIFS. Okay, and it's right here at the top, and then we'll click OK. Okay, so for the SUMIFS is starting with the sum range. So what is the sum range? The sum range is the total expenses. So if we go to the use a formula, we click on total expenses, and then we have that. Just to make sure that this is correct, 2,550, and so on. Okay, so if we go to the next one, which is the criteria range 1. So what is the criteria range 1? The first one is going to be area. So find area. Okay, and criteria 1 will be East. That's cell I8. So criteria range 2 is going to be category. So we'll go to using formula and find category, and the criteria 2 will be subscription. Cell that contains subscription, which is J8. Okay, so if we click OK now, we have our information. The total expenses for the East area for the subscription category is 5,865. Okay, I hope this was simple enough and straightforward enough. This is a very useful function feature of Excel when you're dealing with database functionality. The good thing is that if we make changes to any of these, let's say here, let's say advertising, and we click OK, it changes, it reflects the new information that we enter. Or under the area, if we click and type in not, it will change as well. Okay, so that is how to use the SUMIF, average if, and SUMIFS function.